Okay, right, we're going to go live. Are you ready? We're going to go. So you ready? Welcome to the Above Average podcast. That was good, wasn't it?
Right.
You join us as we're trying to work out whether or not we should have a jingle. Jen, your thoughts on jingles?
I actually think we do need a jingle. I think most podcasts have a jingle, and I think we'd be left out if we don't have one.
Maybe we'd be bucking the trend.
I think it's a trend for a reason.
Okay, if you're listening well, first of all, if you're listening, that's incredible. That'd be a heck of a start, wouldn't it, if someone was listening? If you're listening and statistically, this isn't going to work, is it? Because I now need somebody to be listening and also a jingle maker. But if that's you, wouldn't it be incredible if the only person listening is also a jingle maker? Let us know, and you can design us a jingle, because we don't have one at the moment at all. I've got this. I can't play any more of that because Sly will be on the phone.
I was going to say, you can't just steal a Rocky song as your jingle.
I think we got away with that little tiny bit of it, though. We'll be all right. He won't mind. Mark Lewis and
Jen Lewis.
Bit slow on the uptake there. Do we need to explain to people who we are?
I think it'd be big-headed to think that you don't.
Well, it's not big-headed. I'm just assuming that if they've found the podcast, unless they've stumbled across it, like Podcast Gold, they are probably here because they know who we are anyway. But just in case you don't, Mark Lewis from the Mark Lewis YouTube channel and Jen Lewis from the Mark Lewis YouTube channel. It's not a bit sexist, isn't it? It should be the Mark and Jen Lewis YouTube channel.
Or just the Lewis.
Just Lewis. Yeah, Lewis is. Okay, that's us. Yeah, you probably know who we are. What is this? This is episode 1, in case you hadn't spotted that already. Don't judge other episodes on how this one's going, because they're going to get really good as we go forward. Right now, we are very much all the gear, no idea. I've got a little podcaster device that all the noises go into. That's not a very good description of it, is it? What is it? It's
something that looks like it's from the 80s.
We have a Podcaster Pro 2. Go Google that bad boy. It's a thing that you plug your microphone into, and then it lights up really colourfully. That's why I bought it. So we've got the gear, but we don't know what we're doing beyond that. Okay, so why are we doing a podcast, and what are we going to be talking about on the podcast? I think they're probably pretty cool things to cover in the first episode so that people know what they're letting themselves in for. Why are we doing a podcast?
So I think
because I'm questioning it right now.
I know, I saw mine too, but I think the reason we came up with the idea of doing the podcast was there were some topics that we felt weren't really YouTube video topics, were more of a discussion topic, which might be a bit boring to watch as a video, especially when we start getting on guests that are...
Are you suggesting that our guests, that was Jen smacking the microphone with her hand, are you suggesting that guests might be boring?
Should we do that again? Because I smacked it with my hand.
Well, we can do it again, but I don't know what point did you smack it with your hand? Now I'm lost. It was flowing quite nicely as well at that point. Let's just go with it. People like the idea that you hit it with your hand. It's endearing. So basically, we're going to be having guests, and you think they'd be too boring to have on?
No, I just think that it's going to be a very chatty thing rather than 80s movies clips thing. But if you think...
Okay.
Actually, no, we did decide that going forward we actually might...
Problem is with 80s movies clips.
No problem with them. I'm merely saying that if we're going to have guests on that are chatting a lot about their specialist subject, it might be more interesting as a podcast than as a video, which we may do anyway. We might start videoing the podcast, but that is literally going to be us talking to people.
That's a pretty good summary. We like the idea that we can chat to people in a slightly more free-flowing format, and that might extract from those guests more interesting conversation than if we scripted something out and did it in a more traditional YouTube, film it, edit it kind of style.
Yeah, because spoiler alert, you do edit and script your YouTube channel.
Yes, YouTube is edited and scripted, and this is going to be not edited and scripted. Although it will still have, we can still have movie clips. I don't want people to now be thinking, oh no, there's no movie clips.
No, clearly there will be still clips. I mean, the first thing you did with your little sexy new board was to add clips onto it. So, do
you want to give you one now?
I'm sure you've got one lined up.
Do you want it now, or do you want to wait until tomorrow?
No, give it to me now. I can't wait.
That's a good answer because
there is no tomorrow.
That's right. Did you like that?
Oh my God.
What was all that? That was incredible, wasn't it?
I don't even know what film that's from.
That's Apollo shouting, "There is no tomorrow."
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nose at Apollo, I can see that.
Okay, one more.
There is no tomorrow.
See? Impressed?
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
It's Rocky. Okay, so that's the plan. That's what we're going to be talking about. The other reason we're doing the podcast is that it's a members' benefit. That's really the idea. We're trying to
Loosely using that term right now, benefit.
Yeah, it's for the members, whether it's a benefit or not, who knows. The idea is that we want to ramp up the cool stuff that people who are kind enough to subscribe to the channel get, and a podcast seemed like a really, at the time, easy way of throwing together some more interesting content for them. So a lot of what we do is going to be for members only, but not all of it. We will put some of it out publicly so that people can hear what we're doing, and although I'm questioning it right now, think, wow, we got to subscribe for the podcast if nothing else. And also some conversations genuinely might be what's the word, kind of public service announcement level importance.
I mean, once we start getting the guests on, we've got a few that we'd like to get on, which would definitely come under the umbrella of being useful for a lot of people, I'd imagine, to listen to, whether it's about the injury and training.
That's a good one. Let's talk about that one, because we have a guest coming on soon who is going to be talking about training post-injury and post-illness. And that just strikes me as something that would be very useful for everyone to hear, or certainly lots of people to hear. So those sort of podcasts with that sort of content, if we can, we'll make it available for everyone, or make a big chunk of it available for everyone, with the bulk of content still being available for members only. So it's a kind of exclusive benefit for them. So that's why we're doing it. I'm tempted to have a conversation about the YouTube business model and the podcast business model about advertisers, but I don't want to kind of go off down a rabbit hole of whining about advertisers. I'm going for it. Our problem with the traditional YouTube business model and the podcast model is that everyone thinks it's free, and of course it's not free because there's billions of pounds floating around, so someone's making money somewhere. The problem with it is that the listener, you, or the watcher on YouTube, becomes the product, and the content creator, like us, our job becomes gathering you and then basically placing you in front of advertisers for them to try and sell stuff to you, and then they pay us. So that's the business model. We just basically create bait to lure people in. I don't like that. And even if you try and sidestep it, you end up with sponsored slots or brand deals. It's I don't find it a very honest way of putting out content. What I want to do is think, well, this is a subject that I think is cool or important or entertaining, and it's going out to people, and that's it. I don't want to then have at the back of my mind, oh, I wonder how to shoehorn in that virtual private network mention that I need to bore people stupid with. And even when it's something that, because we've done Squarespace adverts and we love Squarespace. If you go check out our website, it's designed with Squarespace. Every time I use it, I think this is brilliant. I've even got family members that I've put onto Squarespace and they use it for their websites. It's great. But I don't want to take 45 seconds out of a YouTube video that I've put 3 or 4 days into editing together to shoehorn in a Squarespace advert. I mean, just why would you want to? If you were Quentin Tarantino and you loved Lamborghinis, you probably still wouldn't want to take a break halfway through your latest movie and stick in a Lamborghini advert, would you? Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like doing it that way. In fact, here's a good example. I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to 2 podcasts the other day, driving in the car. One of them was a podcast that I subscribe to. I pay every month to get that podcast advert free. I was listening to it, and it was a little bit boring, the particular subject they were talking about. So I turned it off. I put another podcast on that I don't subscribe to. And it was brilliant. It was incredibly funny. I was laughing out loud. And then the guys stopped talking about the funny stuff they were talking about, and they tried to sell me a shirt. Apparently it was made of a lovely material. You didn't need to iron it. And I just did my head in. I was go back to the funny stuff. What I don't want this stupid shirt. So I went back to listen to the slightly less entertaining one. I mean, literally, I was entertained, and I stopped it. I couldn't even be bothered driving the car to try and jump forward 30 seconds or however long they were tediously talking about shirts for. It does my head in that I would rather give them a couple of quid for that podcast and not have to listen about stupid shirts.
I think you might be a little bit more sensitive towards the subject though, because you're in it. I think for people that don't, and they're living this way, don't really think about it in the way that you think about it, which is why the children found it so bizarre to think that you'd charge people for your content when they've only ever seen
I think that's
free
because
content free
you're
content.
Right. Young people just have the ability to just turn off, tune out, think of something else, and ignore the fact that someone's trying to flog them a shirt. I was acutely aware that somebody who had been making me laugh 10 seconds before was now trying to sell me a shirt. Did my head in. So we don't like that. We're doing it this way. Let's talk about the sort of people that we're going to have on, because that's quite exciting. In fact, actually, this is genuinely quite exciting because when I make a YouTube video, we don't get the opportunity to do what we're going to try and do here. Here is the premise for people that are going to be on the podcast in the future. Once a month, I go and have a few drinks with school friends in the pub, the guys I went to school with. That's probably self-explanatory from the term school friends, isn't it? And there's only a few of us there, and we sit down and we all know what each other does because we've been doing it for 10 years now. So there's no talk about what we do for a living. We just talk about nonsense. And every now and again, somebody brings along a school friend that nobody else had seen. They hook up with them on Facebook or whatever, and they drag them along. And they say, hey, you'll remember whatever, Billy. And I don't, because I don't remember anybody from school. But Billy sits down and we say, hey, Billy, haven't seen you since school. What are you doing? And if Billy says he's an accountant or something, just shut up, Billy, about your job at least. Tell us something. Yeah, let's hope Billy, I don't know, cave dives or something, so you can tell us something interesting, because I don't want to hear about an accountant or a lawyer or a financial advisor. I was a financial advisor. Not once did I dare to bore the life out of my friends by talking to them about financial advice. But if Billy sat down and said, I am a chiropractor, or I am a nutritionalist, or I don't know, something that just, there are some subjects that I would think, hey, cool, tell me about that then. Chiropractor, really? Click, clunk, is that safe? How many necks have you broken? Is it all heebie-jeebie nonsense? Is it real? I want an answer. And I go to a chiropractor and I come out feeling amazing, and I still have those questions. So there you go. We're going to find a chiropractor for one of our early episodes. If you're a chiropractor, imagine if we had a chiropractor jingle making one listener right now. You're on the show. That's the sort of conversations. Basically, if you do a job that is reasonably, in some way, perhaps slightly tenuously linked to health and fitness, then we want to talk to you.
I was going to say, we were going to
you're not looking very convinced over there.
Well, no, I was just merely saying that we were going to try and make sure there was some sort of link to health and fitness.
Yeah, well, chiropractor.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I get the chiropractor is. I don't know if you start going to...
Give me an example. Give me an example of something that's not perfect.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, there you go. So you're criticising and
A pilot.
A pilot.
Although that would depend what kind of pilot it is. I mean, if it's like a Tom Cruise type pilot, then that would be an interesting conversation.
When you say Tom Cruise, do you mean an actor that also flies a plane, or do you mean an actual naval aviator? Because Tom Cruise isn't really a naval aviator.
I think both. Just a pilot and...
An actor.
No, a pilot and an aviator. Aviator.
Hang on, a pilot is an aviator. You need to go away and come back with a slightly more constructively.
Naval?
No. What? Who is this person you want on the podcast? You want a pilot, right?
Yeah.
So do you want them to actually be able to really fly a plane?
Yes.
Do you want to be an actor?
No.
Do you want to be in the armed forces?
Yeah, I just think there would be a difference between somebody that's in the armed forces flying a plane than somebody flying a
747.
747.
Yeah, probably.
Boeing
The
kind of type
guns
thing.
on the front of the plane probably is a big difference.
Yeah. But I think that'd be hard to link that to health and fitness.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think if you're a naval aviator and you offer to come on the podcast, I'd question your sanity. But beyond that, we jump at the chance. Actually, there's health and fitness, isn't there? They're pulling some G's. Well, actually, I do want to know what the fitness regime is for a naval aviator. I don't want to know what the fitness regime is for somebody flying a 747 for BA. Do they even have a fitness level requirement? I don't imagine those guys are hooking up to a VO2 max test before they settle down at Heathrow.
Although the air is very small, isn't it, the cockpit? Like, I'd feel like you'd have to be in reasonable shape to fit into there.
I don't know what that even means. The
Well,
cockpit's
it's a very
quite
small place, isn't it? You can't have big people in there.
Oh, I don't know. Can't you?
I would imagine it's cozy.
Okay, so that's the plan. It's basically people that are interesting to us. We're also going to do other things as well. We're going to do some current issues stuff as well. So if we see something interesting, in fact, this happens quite a bit. I see something in the newspapers, and I think that's fitness, health related, and typically it's also often gibberish and be worth discussing. But it's not a full YouTube video type discussion. So we're going to have those sort of conversations.
And on the worth discussing bar, we were going to try and link that into. Sorry, that was me again touching the microphone.
I'm going to remove your arms for episode 2.
Well, it's a learning curve. It's the first one.
Yeah.
Back to my point
I thought keeping your hands still you could have learnt before you hit 33. Yeah, 33.
My point on the discussing things in the news was that we were going to probably, if we could master how to do it, tie it in with a live phone-in.
Oh, were we? How does that
Yeah.
work? A live phone-in with who?
Members, so we can discuss along with them.
Okay, that's interesting. Although I quite like that. That's
Almost like a live Q&A, but around a subject that's of interest in the news.
I think we are better to do phone-ins in relation to the Ask Me Anything.
Oh,
bit.
okay. Rather than
Only because
having a subject.
Well, because I think I will have a tendency to pick topics from the news that infuriate me, and I wouldn't want to subject anybody phoning in to my infuriation. For example, here's a current one. Rishi Sunak goes to a private doctor. Who'd have thought the man married to the billionaire running the entire country goes to the private doctor? My assumption was he got up in the morning, felt a bit poorly, went and sat down at his local surgery and waited for 3 hours to be seen by somebody. That was what I thought happened. And the country just goes on hold. Other presidents phoning in. No, sorry, he's busy at the moment. He's surgery. He's been there for 2 hours. No idea when he's coming back. No idea. No.
See, interesting. People would like to phone in about that.
Send the ambassador home with his Ferrero Rocher because Rishi's busy. The idea that the man shouldn't go to a private doctor does my head in. But somebody might phone in and say, oh no, I think it's really important that actually he does go to a NHS GP so that he can understand what's involved in. I mean, I don't know what nonsense argument they come up with.
Which is how you get a nice healthy debate.
It wouldn't be a healthy debate because I would be so infuriated. I mean, it's the last time I tried to get an NHS GP, it took me an hour and a half on the phone before the line went dead, and I didn't have to keep us safe from nuclear war or what else is he doing? Keeping us safe from nuclear war.
People in China having lots of COVID.
Yeah, exactly. There are things on his plate, and getting an appointment for a GP shouldn't be one. And also, his wife's a billionaire. If my wife was a billionaire, that'd be you. If you're a billionaire, and I said I felt poorly, and you said, "Here's a plan: sit on the phone for 3 hours, try and get yourself a GP appointment." You'd be my ex-wife, and I'd be half a billionaire.
As if I wouldn't have an extremely good prenup in order.
Right. The other one we want to do is Ask Me Anything. So Ask Me Anything is going to be cool. We're gonna stick up on either the Patreon site or the member site or the Facebook group. Have I got dogs barking in the background? Okay, that's right. We need to pause. Okay, we're back. We had a short pause there because the dog was barking in the house and I could hear the dog in the background. So if you're wondering why it sounded like there's a dog in the background, there literally was. Unfortunately, I've got 100 buttons on this little device in front of me that I use for podcasting, and not one of them is labelled instantaneously combust the dog. Otherwise, I could have fixed it from here. So, Ask Me Anything. We're going to do some Ask Me Anythings, aren't we? Jen, would you want your own Ask Me Anything?
No, I just assume we'd share it.
That's very...
Ask me anything and just they can...
I think they should be specific. I think we're going to do one for me, we'll do one for you, and then we'll do one for us as a couple.
No, I like my idea. Where
Oh.
you just say, ask me anything, and the person can decide whether they want to ask you or me or both.
Well, that's Ask Us Anything, isn't it? If we're going to do me, then you, then us. So there's going
Why
to Ask
you
Me Anything.
first?
Because I'm most important. So, and that's it. That is pretty much it. We might do some film reviews as well. I want to do film reviews. Yeah, next week.
Because I want to go see Babylon.
Babylon. Never heard of it. So what we
It's
used
a
to
new
do.
one with Brad Pitt and
Okay.
who's the sexy lady?
The list is long. You're going to have to narrow it down.
I know. She plays the wacky girl in... No, I can't get that.
Good. Nice. Excellent.
She's going to play Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah, with Ryan Gosling, who's playing Ken. There's a new Barbie.
It's not the girl from Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Australian girl. Leonardo DiCaprio and
Leonardo
Margot
DiCaprio.
Robbie.
Margot Robbie, that's the one.
Okay, cool. We'll watch
Anyway,
that.
we're going to go see that next week because it comes out. So that could be
so
one of our first ones.
to explain, every Wednesday night, Jen
Or
and I...
Tuesday.
Or Tuesday or Wednesday, Jen and I go to the local cinema late in the evening, about 10 o'clock, because it's empty, and watch a movie. And apparently we're now going to be doing reviews on them. Actually, I have to say, when I say let's do movie reviews, I was thinking that the movie would have to be fitness related. You sound like you just want to talk about any... I mean, you're literally just going to say, we saw a movie last night and here's all about it. Is that your plan?
Yes, although I would urge people probably not to listen to the first one just in case we end up spoiling things. Like, I think we need to learn how to review a movie first
Or just
off.
review it and say it's good or bad without saying, you know, and then the shark ate everyone or something.
I know, but when you listen to... What's the guy that you always listen to? Like, you do learn things about the film.
Mark Commode.
You do learn things about the film that you... I don't know, they do give a little bit away.
Okay, you think we could be lacking in some skills in this whole
Yes,
area?
I do.
That's fair
It's
point.
it's going to be hopefully a sharp learning curve from today. Steep. What does it matter? Sharp or steep?
Well, steep would imply that it's dramatically going upwards.
Whereas sharp, what?
I don't know. What does sharp imply?
Sharp.
No, I mean it might increase sharply.
Maybe now is also time to let everyone know that there's many a times where I get my words wrong, and Mark will correct me.
Yeah, Jen's mastery of the English language is on a par with an 8-year-old. Is it?
Oh, an 8-year-old today.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's actually...
pretty dumb 8-year-old. So we're going to be doing film reviews. I thought they had to be slightly more fitness based, like that, but apparently not. It's good to any old film. What I am going to do, heads up for
They
anyone.
don't come out often enough. When was the last fitness film that came out that you can call?
That's a good point. Well, we could go back. We could review, like retrospectively. We could
Like Dodgeball.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, there you go. We could talk about Dodgeball.
Karate Kid.
You've gone from Dodgeball to Karate Kid.
Oh,
I think you might have skipped some things in the middle there. But what's more important
Coach
is
Carter.
that... Okay, yeah. Are you done now? Or are you just reeling off?
I'm done.
What's more important is that guests that come on the podcast are going to have to pick their favourite fitness montage from a movie. So if you're a guest, you have to come on and pick your favourite fitness montage. That section will have a jingle. Sound a bit like that probably. And yeah, you have to. I want to ask them to pick their 3 favourite montages. The downside of that is that I don't think people will be able to come up with 3, and if they do, we'll have a huge overlap because people will be reeling off the same things every time. But the upside is that we could call that section Montage à Trois, which is just a lovely little play on words.
Where have you used that before in one of your videos?
I use that I use that on the training. I use that on the training montage YouTube video, which is an absolute masterclass in satirical comedy, and nobody watched it.
Why not, instead of doing 3 montages, Why don't you get them to do free movie clips that are like their favorite movie clips, and then your job throughout the podcast is to try and find a relevant time to play those free clips.
Okay. I don't quite know what that means. So they come at what would be a favourite movie clip? What's an example of that?
As in like just a favorite quote from a movie.
What, irrespective of fitness or not?
Yeah, and
What,
you've
so,
got
so they come in and go, yeah, it's you're going to need a bigger boat,
yeah,
right?
and you've got to try and find a point in the podcast that
Are
that'll
they
be
are
relevant.
they telling me before they come on the podcast that this
Yes.
is okay? So when
So
you
in the lead up to the podcast, you are asked them, can you please let me know 3 movie quotes or your favorite quotes? And then your job is to put them on your little colourful board.
without the button for blowing up dogs.
Yeah. Put it on there and you've got to try and get them in there.
Okay, that's hard to do. That's hard to. I would
If
need.
you're up to it, you aren't up to it.
Well, I would need plenty of notice. If someone said to me, "Just I'm coming on the podcast tomorrow,"
There is no tomorrow.
that was weak. I should have put on you're gonna need a bigger boat, but I don't have that on there. I don't think I've got much on there at all.
Stop.
It's addictive, I have to say. What's
You're
this?
like a kid that's got
Oh.
their new mobile phone playing all the tunes.
Well,
Not at all annoying to anyone else.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
I can program in. You'd be surprised. There's
I don't think I would. You've played so many
seriously,
already.
there's like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 36, 48. I can have 48 different sounds. I'll do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow.
Right. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done for today. You know why we're doing it, who it's for, what it's all about. We're going to have hopefully an episode a week. Are we over promising and then end up underachieving with an episode a week? I think we might be.
We'd like to do at least an episode a week. We're not sure whether it be a episode a week with a guest, though.
It won't be.
Probably not, no.
No. Okay, we're going to try and we'll get
mainly
something
just
out once a week.
rambling.
Okay, it could just be us rambling about the MPs and GPs and. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, do we want to talk about you're going to be doing High Rocks? Do we want to discuss the fact that you're doing High Rocks soon, and I'm doing High Rocks soon? Should we go?
No, I think we leave it at...
You don't give people a heads up that we're in incredibly bad shape at the moment, and that performance could be diabolical.
Well, I think given I haven't trained since December and...
Through illness, I should add, rather than
Through
just in case
illness.
anyone thinks you're
Well, hang on, no, 2
just
seconds.
lazy.
That's not quite the case. From December up until Christmas, it was just through the fact it
Christmas.
was Christmas, and then after Christmas, I got ill. So
The spoiler: Jen's out of shape, and so am I a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm running with a
Tell
weighted
that
pack.
to the
so
18 mince pies you ate in one day.
I'm running with a weighted pack. If you don't know that, for High Rocks, and we'll be raising money. So
The equivalent of the weight you.
anybody
That's fine.
that wants to criticise my performance is basically criticising charity. That's what they're doing. Okay, that is it. We are out of here, and we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye, and we would play you our jingle now, but